Right, shall we start? So last week we discussed about revenue related procedures. So last week we discussed revenue related procedures, and then on top of this we discussed liability related procedures. The liability we discussed about liability adequacy test, right? How we are going to perform this liability adequacy test, and then following confirmation, subsequent settlements, discuss about liability, right? And then on revenue, uh, basically audit approach we discussed. Most of the companies are using reliance control approach, and then revenue is a balance. Uh, Default risk was attached to the revenue as per auditing standards. And with the revenue, we have default fraud risk. Fraud risk was linked with this balance. Fraud risk related to the revenue recognition. So then fraud risk, we can say that fraud risk presumption is there. So as auditor, what we have to do, we have to address this fraud risk through audit procedures. If not, some of the companies they do have kind of a uh, very straightforward, non-complex revenue process. So what auditor should do, he has to document it properly. This company having very straightforward process of revenue. Because of that, we are going to rebut the presumption. Rebut the presumption. So that's what we discussed. And under revenue, we discussed 5-step model. 5-step model. Then again, we told that some of the revenue related aspects were scoped out this 5-step model, the SFRS 50, like insurance, bank, leasing, finance companies, those were scoped out. Other than that, we can get guidance from SFRS 50, right? Today, we discuss as a management, once you are developing your process for revenue, should be in line with this 5-step model, right? 5-step model. It means that identification of the contract, identification of the performance obligation, determine the price, and then according to the obligation, we need to split the price throughout the contract. Then accordingly we need to recognize the revenue, right? To do that, according to the product, according to the revenue, we need to design your process, right? So then for this process, what we have to do, we have to do a walkthrough as a auditor. Walkthrough for design and implementation effectiveness. And then we can do TOC. So then TOC we discuss very basic TOC. Last week ළමෙක් දානවා දැනද? ඉදාසත් ගන්නවනේ. boys school na girls school na එහෙම තමයි. videos හදනවනේ. සල්ල තමයි දෙන්නේ. සල්ල තමයි දෙන්නේ. හොඳයි නේ. හොඳයි. Right. So revenue. Revenue we discuss then cutoff procedure. Simple. What we discuss, we need to get the first invoices, last invoices, check the correct revenue period. That's all about the cutoff. And then we discuss, once you are recognizing revenue, definitely we should have kind of a provision for return. Provision for return is really important. We discuss what's the reason we need to make a provision. Right? Why we need to make a provision? Let's say we sell some of the items. Our year end 31st December. We sell some of the items 25th December. Right? 25th December. So let's say item was 1 million. 1 million. This item. So then next year, let's say we are not planning to do sales. Next year we are planning to stop for a short period. Next year, right? Next year is zero revenue. Imagine this kind of hypothetical situation. Zero revenue. We are selling 1 million sales here. That sales will be returned at end of January. January end. This will be returned. So what happened? Return, we have to deduct from the sales. So then here we don't have sales. Zero sales, that's a negative balance. So then this return related to the previous year. So then what you have to do? Once you are making your sales, there is a possibility to return, you have to make a provision. Otherwise, if you are transferring that to the next year, that will impact that year. Because you are deducting from some other number. Deducting from the sales you just done in particular year. That is not correct. That's why we are telling that make a provision. If you are making a provision here, you can debit to that account, this return, right? Keep in mind. So that should be done. So then all those things we discuss. I hope you are comfortable. Procedures relating to revenue is really important aspect you need to familiarly. Right. Okay. Now we are going to discuss about purchases and expenses. Hello. Yes. Hello. Hello. split කරපු ස්ප්ලිට් කරපු ටික මම මොකද කළේ නැහැ ස්ප්ලිට් කරලා විතරයි වෙන්න ඕන විදියට. ඒක තමයි බලන්නේ. අනිත් ටික නම් ඕකේ. මම ගොඩක් බලලා තියෙන්නේ. මේ අපේ දිවිෂන් වල පොඩි සපෝට් එකක් ගන්න අවශ්‍යයි මේ වාර ටික මේ අපිට ඒකේ අවුට්කම් මෙලේට් කරලා තියා ගන්න යාගේ බර්ත්ඩේස් ආවනම් පොඩක් හොඳයි වගේ පොඩක් කියන්න බලන්න අපිට අපි ගමු සපෝට් එක පොඩ්ඩක් හා ඕනේ රයිට් ඒක නම් බලන්න right sorry earlier no call that's the answer so finalizing the report we need to submit today right purchases and expenses this is basically the cash outflow right that outflow plus for the period consent cash and consent, right? For the period consent, cash outflow, and parallel we don't have a specific standard which is relevant to here, right? Specific standard. So the basic standard there is one expenses defined, and then inventory standard relates to purchases, right? So then likewise we don't have a specific standard here. Very straightforward. What we can do is purchases, basically purchase process, maybe procurement process, then plus vendor registration, then all together we are having set of controls in the purchasing process, normal purchases. Right? The process may be vary according to your industry, according to your company. Some of the companies they are purchasing material. Some of the companies they will purchase finished goods. Some are not finished goods plus material. Some products will be produced. Some of them are finished goods. Right? Likewise, according to your company, according to your product. The process may change. Keep mind, the process may change. If it is so, what we have to do is we need to understand the process. Our recommendation is to purchasing process. You need to follow the reliance control approach. What's the reason? This is an ongoing process. During a period, we may have millions of transactions, purchasing, selling, transferring, having set of transactions. Because of that, we need to follow the reliance control approach. And then, what we can do is follow a walkthrough, do a walkthrough test, identify the design and implementation effectiveness, and then audit procedures, POC. I am not going to discuss here much. Why? Purchases very straightforward. That depends on the company. Basically, MRN, material requisition, and then purchase order, and then DRL, and then invoice, and then payment. So then you have the process. Within this process, we need to have four principles. This process can be established, designed through kind of a IT system or manual, IT-dependent manual system. Within this process, you may have different source documents. What you have to do is, you need to evaluate the controls of this process. That's all about POC. You may have system generated PRN, system generated purchase order, invoice number will be generated through the system. There should be invoice related approvals. Likewise, you may have different controls over this. What you have to do is, you have to select a sample for accounting period 12 months, representing the 12 months, take the controls over this list of controls should be done. And then after that, what you have to do is you can come to the substantive procedures. Under substantive procedures, basically what we need to do, sample purchase invoices, inquiry of the management. What you can do is you can do analytics relating to the gross margin. Likewise, you can do basic testing. Basically, analytics plus mounting. Analytics, ARP, analytical review procedures. That may be cost versus revenue, product-wise cost analysis, purchase analysis, vendor-wise purchase analysis. Likewise, you can do different analytical procedures. You can cross-check with the market, industry, you can cross-check with the last year, you can cross-check with the budget. You may have different analytics. Or you can rely on analytics. Reason is what? You have done the POC and you are relying on the control. If you are in a reliant control environment, keep in mind, if you are in a reliant control environment, you can heavily focus on ARP. Why? Substantive procedures, as you know, can be divided into two. Substantive procedures. Make a other TOD, ARP. इसी वाली पार्ट लिया है. Substantive procedures can be divided into TOD and ARP. List of details and analytical review procedures. So that TOD කියන එකට ARP කියන එක ලේසි. ARP ලේසි. ඒ TOD ගොඩක් අමාරු ડોකියුමන්ට්ස් අරගෙන වවුචර් බන්ඩල් අරගෙන එතන ගිහින් වාඩි වෙලා නේද? ඒ බන්ඩල් පෙරලාගෙන සාම්පල් හොයාගෙන source document එකම බලන්න ඕන. agreement form. It's really difficult as auditor to do TOD. Investigation වල තමයි TOD ගොඩාක් කරන්නේ. සේරම වල investigation. Auditor විදේශේනම් බලන්න he do sample basis. But still it's a difficult task, right? ARP, very straightforward. What you can do is you can do analytics. You can, once you are doing analytics, basic process. So then you need to design the parameters and then presumption. What's your expectation need to be developed? Expectation and do the analytics. Cross-check with the expectation in the results, and if there are any deviations, clarify, conclude. That's the process. Whatever analytics you do, that's the basic process. If you are analyzing with the last year and this year, monthly purchases, what's your expectation? What's your assumption? What are the assumptions? last week at the Galle. Our assumption is the money. Our assumption is the money. Last week at the in line යනවා කියන්නේ. ඒක තමයි assumption. ඒ assumption එක in line යන්නේ නැති තැන මොනවද කියලා බලලා identify කරගන්න ඕන exceptions. And then you will clarify it. And then if you can justify that, you are comfortable with the analytics. That's it. Likewise, you can do analytics for purchases. And then vouching, TOD can be done for sample. And then some of the expenses. If you are moving to expenses, you can see recalculate accruals, prepayments to gain evidence of expenses or not over or understand. Compare gross margin with the previous year, gross margin and as per budget and expectations. Investigate any unexpected fluctuation. I can discuss. You can do gross margin analysis and then budget versus actual analysis. All those can be done. Right. For expenses, again, you can check related agreements, ARPs, vouchers, related approvals, budget approvals, board approvals for some of the expenses. All those can be tested. Minutes, like fund transfers, bank statements for expenses you can check, and the DL posting. That should be done. So then whatever the expense, what are the things you need to check? You need to get the example, right? If it is electricity, you can decide. If it is telephone, utility, you can decide what are the source documents you need to check. Now you know, right? So then electricity, you can check, you can do ARP. It's important. ARP. Monthly electricity versus the production. Last year electricity versus this year. 2. And then what you can do, check electricity bill of 3 months. Check the payment. Check the payment approval. Check the bank statement. Check the DL posting. So those are the basic procedures. Evidence as written. You can decide which point you are going to stop. That's based on the risk relating to this. That risk relating to what? Inherent risk plus control risk. Inherent risk, judgment. Control risk relating to DOC. Yeah. DOC. Okay. So that's about purchases and expenses. Whatever the expense you have, this is the process. Very straightforward. Then we have some other critical expenses. We have a separate section for that, like salaries. Now, here the salaries. Salaries is a core expense. Purchases we did, and then salaries. Employee remunerations. Expense purchases can Audit කරන්න දැන් කම්පැනි මේක audit procedure responses කියන්නේ. ඒකට idea එකක් තියෙන්න ඕන මේ study එක ගන්න මොකක් හරි ආවොත් expense purchases related issue එක specific identify කරලා procedures කියන්නේ. ඒ audit sense එකේ ඉන්නවා. අපි එක balance එක ගැන කතා කරලා ගොඩාක් දේවල් වටලක් පුළුවන් වෙනවා ඕන balance එකකට වෙන industry එකේ balance එකක් කිව්වා. Insurance industry, premium receivable, premium, commission, and then EWP, claims, claim makeup, audit procedures here. And Pataka is an audit last week. Specific industry, specific balances here. Well, banking, banks, FB. अभी Pataka is there. Bank के बारे में FB. देखिए लाइब्रेरी का कैसे देगा लाइब्रेरी का बैंक की टेस्ट की लाइब्रेरी तो भी एक बैंक के बारे में बैंक की ऑडिट का रोल चेक करा रोल चेक करा तो उन्हें क्या तो अभी मेन नॉलेज की हमें एड्रेस करा मेन नॉलेज की हमें एड्रेस करा बहुत अभी डाला एफबी के अंदर लाइब्रेरी का financial instrument है ongoing process है ये मतलब आपके डिजाइन प्रोडक्ट अप्रोच क्या है तो देखिए एक पांच एक तो फोकस करना बोलो एक है कि डिसेंट्रलाइज कंट्रोल है एटोमिक मेथड में देखिए क्या है मास्टर हो गया और आप आने वाला है डिजाइन प्रोडक्ट अप्रोच है एफडी प्रोसेस से की कंट्रोल्स की तो बाहर कंट्रोल्स के बोलो एफडी का क्या है मास्टर बनाओ form එක දෙනවා form එක fill කරලා ගන්නවා know your customer acknowledgement එක ඒ කියන්නේ ඒ සල්ලි හම්බුණු විදිය එවලුවේට් කරනවා ඊපස්සේ NIC numbers ගන්නවා share detail fill කරලා detail verify කරලා FDA के cash आए FD certificate issue करනවා approve करනවා ඒක system එකේ create කරනවා system එකේ තමයි FD unique number එකක් create කරනවා so then all those are controls so what you can do is as auditor you need to evaluate the design and implementation. Then you need to select FD sample, let's say 50 FDs in the year, and take these controls. After that, you are comfortable with the control testing. And then what you have to do, then you can do substantive procedures. And the substantive procedures you can analyze FD versus interest, right? You can pull some confirmation for it. And then you can do vouching of every certificate. And then you can get the clear posting. And basically the customer confirmation. Some of the FD you can select. Some of the FD will be getting matured subsequent to the within the subsequent period. Let's say you are ending in December. January, February, March, you are finalizing audit. And at that period, we have some deposits getting mature. You can select all those things and you can check the cash settlement. If you are settling cash, definitely you know that as at that day we had the deposit. So, if you are comfortable with them, that's how we need to get the control. So, make procedures normal. कोई है ये डेफिनेशन एक आप वाला है स्टैंडर्ड एक वाला नहीं क्यों है व्हाट है उर्दू में लोग ऑर्डर बैलेंस है अप्रोच करा ऑर्डर में बैलेंस है कि वो इंडस्ट्री है वो लगे को काटो इंश्योरेंस इंडस्ट्री क्लेम्स क्लेम का परफॉर्मेंस ऑडिट करना क्लेम का क्या है एक जनरल इंश्योरेंस में एक्सीडेंट का करेंगे क्लेम के लिए बात करें तो अनिवार्य वार्डन मुकुट में जानते हैं इंश्योरेंस इंडस्ट्री में खाता है ना है हम कल बनाने क्लेम मेकर आप लोग वहाँ पे बैठे पानो क्लेम मेकर क्या करने का अपने कॉल कर इंश्योरेंस कंपनी के लिए ना यार अपने अकाउंट वाला सारी देना ओके ओके प्रोडक्ट भी करेक्ट करता है अंगारा के नो claim is an ongoing process you need to check the controls claim maker बारह देने के ना एक आगे customer relation කෙනෙක් වෙන්න බෑ. right? ඊට පස්සේ ඒ වෙලෙම check කරන්න. කරලා evidence ගන්න. photos හරි ඒක ගන්න. ඊට පස්සේ ඒක within the scope වෙන්න ඕනේ accident. ඒක within the scope කියන්නේ අපි medical එකක් we are having kind of insurance. That insurance was taken for kind of a personal reason, but they have done kind of a rental car business. It is though they are not covered. Likewise, you need to check the cover. If it is within the cover, they can escalate the process. They can intimate the claim. They can intimate the claim after intimation. What they have to do at the intimation, they do kind of a provision. They will have provision. In a wheel claim 50,000. Vehicle 100,000. Intimation provision. It was our evaluation virtual loss. That's how provision adjusted. The provision adjusted approval will take it. So then what have to check? The valuation and the evidence and the approval for the payment. Right? So that those are the things you need to implement. Likewise, now you are comfortable with whatever the area, you can develop some kind of a responses. Right? Okay. Auditing employee expenses and management remuneration. Auditing employee expenses and management remuneration. This is a kind of a common cost again, right? Common cost, and this is the area we are having type of a high risk. Why? That's why we are taking out this expense and discussing. Otherwise, we can skip that. We discuss about expenses and liabilities. This is all about one of our expenses, salary expense. Why we are discussing kind of specific item. Here we relate to kind of this. Why? People who are doing the business, people who are preparing the financial statements, people who manage the business, their rewards containing here. So the control per se, they can override this control. In general, they can take more salary. Simple. They can take some of the salary expenses for unavailable employees. CFO dummy employees salary process. They are not working. That employees will be rewarded the salary. And otherwise, some of the employees already resigned. You still getting salary. That is not correct as an entity, as well as an organization. It's a fraud. Okay? There should be a proper control mechanism to calculate the basic salary, calculate ETF, EPF, incentives, bonuses. So then, employee remuneration is containing different elements. So the different elements, as an employee, is getting, the majority of the time, let's say 80% is with the organization. Is having different transactions with the organization. Some of the transactions very unique to the employee. Right? Unique to the employee. Basic salary, and then some of the allowances, right? And then deduction for advances. If there's a loan, there should be a deduction. If there's a membership, let's say you have a team in the office. For that gym, there's a small deduction from your salary. All those deductions will be deducted, right? And then related incentives, EPF, PTF, EPF, PTF, related tax should be deducted. Right? So they get here, habit. Habit එක අඩු කරන්න. Advance payment of income tax. Habit. ඔය habit එක කැපෙනවා නේද? මේ කැපෙනවා තමයි. දාන salary. මේක capital T10 එක. T10 ගන්න. Employee employer කපලා T10 certificate එක employee ට දෙන්න ඕන. T10 certificate එකේ ලොකු ගාණක් දෙනවා. දැක බයරන මෙච්චර ගාණක් ගෙවුවද කියලා. අපිට වෙන්න පුළුවන් නේද? අපිට saving වලට වඩා savings නැහැ zero saving payment එක ලොකු ගාණක්. EPF TTS වලට වඩා තුන්ගුණයක් විතර තියෙනවා. ලොකු ගාණක්. Oh yeah. That's okay if they're using that for kind of better usage. Then happy. Otherwise, not happy. No? Right. There should be a proper process in the HR department to handle this, and this type of allowances, cash outflow, will be changed with other processes in the HR, right? So this is the kind of remuneration, no? Salary, PAP, all those are remuneration related things. And other activities of the HR process will impact this. Basically, recruitment, promotion, and then resignation. HR activities, bonuses, and then here we have some other one is activity. So whatever the HR activities will impact this process, these numbers. Wagi recruitment වැඩි නම් අගේ resignation එක වෙන දවසේ payroll එක update වෙනවා. So then let's say one employee resigned from the organization December 12th. As at that day, that should be updated to payroll. Otherwise, the remaining 18 days will be paid by the company. So the resignation should be updated on time. And currently the issue එක මොකක්ද? Resignation උනාට පස්සේ login එක දාන්න තියෙනවා. So the login එක තියාගන්න තියෙනවා. Login termination process එක හරියට වෙන්නේ. So then if you are having open login for the resigned employees, what can happen? This login can be used some other employees to do some fraudulent activity. ඒක කරාම fraud එක හොයන්න පුළුවන්ද බෑ. මෙලගේ CCTV එකෙන් තමයි බලන්නේ. මෙයා නැහැ. අවුරුදු login එක use කරන්නේ. මොන lab එකේ IP number එක use කරලා තියෙන්නේ කියලා track කරන්න පුළුවන්. CCTV තියෙනවා. Otherwise, the common problem is people can use resigned employees login to do some fraudulent activities. So as an entity, what we have to do? We have to have proper control mechanism to stop this type of issues. That's the one area need to be considered. So likewise, under HR process, we have different sub-processes. Attendance tracking and promotion, these terminations, legal cases, investigations, login termination, creativity calculation, payroll reconciliation, likewise. And other part is the talent development. Training, talent development is another part. Entertainment part is another part. So arranging activities and layout and Christmas type of activities and likewise we are having HR function is a critical function in organization because they are the people who are touching the employees, part of the company. Right? So then that process will impact to the financial statements. Those impacts should be evaluated and we need to focus about reliable control approach for the HR related incentives. And then perform POC and do the substantive procedures. Once you are doing substantive procedures, so then we are requested to do POC. And then POC ke lagata එක process එකේ control balance පුළුවන්. So the main control is your promotion, resignation, salary payment, bonuses, and should be approved by two head of departments. OI principal in between two departments should be there. HR के executive के sign करना, HR head sign करना, process कराना है. Department देकर HR क्या है centralized department है. Marketing के salary decide करने marketing के जो HR के approval है. ඊට පස්සේ salary decide වෙලා ඒක reconcile කරලා payment යනකොට CFO ගේ approval. That's a process. That process should be there. So what you can select is you can select 1 month, one resignation, one kind of promotion. You can check the design. And then what you can do is once you are doing POC, select the different sample, check the and control for the period. අපි available plan walk through එක කරන්නේ එක item එක. හොඳට මතක තියාගන්න. අපි TOC කරනකොට මුලින්ම කරන්නේ මොකද්ද? walk through කරලා තමයි TOC කරන්නේ. walk through කරන්නේ එක item එක. TOC කරන්නේ කොටකට. 25ක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්, 50ක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්, 60ක් වෙන්න පුළුවන් item. ඒක ඔයා හොඳටම දන්නවා කියලා මොකද හිතන්නේ ඉන්නේ. ඇයි රීසන් එක walk through කරන්නේ මොකටද? walk through කරන්නේ මොකටද? ඇයි walk through එක කරන්නේ? walk through කරන්නේ kita baca dulu ya itu lupa ini kan waktu berapa ini ini kiri paling durian depan baik itu tuh beda durian itu apa tuh saya ibarat dia dari control areas pulang dengan implementation, design and operation. Ini bagian event parameter. Dan parameter. Ada yang dalam situ හැමදාම කියලා තියෙනවා. ඒකට audit කියන්නේ different subject එකක්. මේ වචන set වෙන මාර import. Auditation පාඩම් කරන එක. ඉතින් මම හිතුවා මේක ෆැමිලිය කරගන්නවා කියලා. මේ ස්ටෝරි එකක් වගේ මතක් කරගත්තොත් අපි නමාරු නැහැ මට මේක කරනවා. දැන් ready වෙනවා. class lectures එනවා වගේම ඒක ready කරගන්නකොට ඉක්මනට කරනවා. අපි overnight කරන්න බෑ. overnight කරන්න බෑ අපිට. හොඳටම රියලයිස් ඉන්න ඕනේ. දැන් ඒ වගේ පොඩි දේවල් ගොඩාක් කතා කරලා තියෙන නිසා සංස්කාරයක් වෙනකොට පුළුවන්. පොතේ නම් පිළිවෙල වැඩක් නැහැ. පොතේ නේද බොස් කෙනෙක් වෙන්නත් එපා. මම නම් පොත්වල ලියන්නේ. මට නෝට්ස් උත් නැහැ කැම්පස් කාලේ. පොඩ්ඩක් තිබුණා. කොහොමද බලන්නේ. ඔළුවේ තමයි තියෙන්නේ. ඔළුවේ තමයි තියෙන්නේ. පොතේ බලලා පොත හරවලා ඒ බලලා කියන්නේ. ඒක බලලා එක්සෑම් එකේ ලියන්න. මේ ප්‍රැක්ටිස් එක කරලා යන්න තාම ඉන්නේ ඒ ලෙවල් මෙන්ටලිටි එකේ තමයි. ඇඩ්වාන්ස් එකකට යන්න. පොතේ දෙන්නේ එහෙම සිලබස් කව වෙන්න ඕනේ. සිලබස් එකේ මේ සර් වලට එක මේ සර් කියලා වෙන්නේ. මෙන්න සර් කියලා කියන්න ඕනේ. සර් ගන්න ඕනේ. දැන් මේ සර් ගන්නට අවශ්‍ය නැහැ. lectures දෙන්නේ අර guidance එක. containing the practical scenarios. ඒකයි දැන් අපි වගේ history lectures අරන් දැනෙන්න තියෙන්නේ. පාඩේ ගන්න බැරිවෙන්නේ මේ practical examples වල share කරන්න, කතා කරන්න. ඒක ආවද? ලෙවල් කරන්න ඕන. ඔය. අරකට support එකක් දෙන්න තමයි lecture series එක. හොඳයි ඒක පොතේ ලියලා ඒක බලලා ඉන්නකොට level එකක් මේ lectures වල expect කරනවා. ඒක දැන් මෙහෙම කරලා right just walk through it කරන්නේ design and implementation effectiveness EOC කරන්නේ operation මේක ඉගෙනුවේ පළවෙනි දවසේ ඉඳන් උගන්වනවා operation කියලා දාලා තරු මාක් එකක් දාලා ඉන්න කිව්වා පළවෙනි දවසේ කිව්වනේ දාගෙන මේක කියලා දෙන දවසේ තායි මතක් කරන්න ඒ මතක් කරන දවස ආවා ඊට පස්සේ. ඒ මතක් කරන දවසේ පොත කරවල හොතලා තරු මාර්ගෙ හොයාගත්තා. නේද? ඔයම කරා. තරු මාර්ගෙ හොයාගෙන අන්න තේරුම් ගත්තා. EOC walk through must මේ operational effectiveness එක option කියලා. නෑ. operation effectiveness එක ඉතින් දාගත්තේ. operation effectiveness එක optional කියලා දාලා මෙතෙන්ද තරු මාර්ගෙ දාලා. එන්න දාගත්තේ ඔව්. optional කියන්නේ ඇයි කියලා තේරෙයි කිව්වොත් EOC ගන්න දවසට optional කියන්නේ ඇයි කියලා. optional කියන්නේ ඇයි කියන එක අපි කතා කරා. පොඩි approach එක අනුව ඔයාලට EOC කරන්න ඕනේ නැහැ කියන්නේ. particle substantive කරන්න පුළුවන් කියන්නේ. අපි already කතා කරලා ඒ කතාව තමයි හැමදාම අර උඩින් මෙහෙම කියලා කිව්වේ. balance එක කරන්නේ. ඒක ඕන තරම් කතා කරලා තියෙනවා. ඒකට අපි walk through එක කරනකොට sample ගන්න එක area එකකින් එකයි ගන්න. මොකද අපි understand කරන්න ඕන design එක implement design කරලා තියෙන implement කරලා තියෙන විතරයි. right? You don't want that for the period status. අපිට කියන්න පුළුවන් සාමාන්‍යයෙන් මේ එක select කරනකොට randomly නෙමෙයි. අපිට audit එකෙන් ඉල්ලන්න පුළුවන්. audit එකෙන් ඉල්ලුවොත් දෙන්නේ මොකද්ද? හොඳ මේක තමයි දෙන්නේ. ඒක හොඳ මේක දුන්නොත් අපිට මොකක්ද බලන්න පුළුවන්. හොඳටම design and implementation එක බලන්න. For the walkthrough. So then we can move to the TOC. TOC what we have to do? We are checking the operation. Operation means as per the design and implementation whether it's happened during the period. That's called operation. To check the operation, what you have to do then? Whatever the item you test here, one from January, one from February, one from December, likewise you need to select some, right? To ensure the operation. Design එක විදිහට operation එක තිබුණාද කියලා බලන්න. ඉතින් මොකක්ද කරන්නේ? ඔය මාස 12කට 12 item select කරලා ඔය මේකෙම තිබුණ එක තිබුණාද කියලා බලන්න. Right? That is called test of controls. That's all about operation. Whatever the TOC you are doing, you have to do this. Right? Then what TOC හැම එකටම කතා කරන්නේ අපි non-current asset කතා කරමු දැන් receivable, current liabilities, revenue, expenses. We discuss TOC. That's how we have to do this. So then once you are doing POC for salary, payroll related things, same approach you need to do. I'm not going to explain each and every one. So then POC for employee appointment, promotion, and then resignation. Then bonus calculation, validity. You can decide what appointment, recruitment වල POC කරන්න කියලා. POC වල මුලින්ම walk through එක බලන්න. එක recruit කරපු කෙනෙක්ගේ documents ටික මොනවද? recruit කරන්න internal recruitment එකක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. external recruitment එකක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. There should be a request from the particular department. So then that particular department that will be requested through their SWP, strategic workforce planning. So then that should be budgeted. That should be a requirement. And with that requirement, he has to request from the HR with the kind of advertisement content. So then HR should design the advertisement and then they have to publish it. And then interviews and shortlisting. That should be a kind of independent process. Interview process, first interview, second interview, exam, and then shortlisting, selecting, and sending offer letter, negotiating the salary, accepting the offer letter, and then giving the offer, and kind of a period for notice, and then appointment, induction, login creation, all those things in the recruitment process. Giving the offer letter and appointment letter, probation period, probation clearance, right? All those things in a recruitment process. You can check all those things in the personal file, evidence. If you want to do that for TOC, you can check this file and verify some sample. So the recruitment done, resignation done, so then salary processing done. All those things should be checked. And then salary reconciliation is the area you need to check as an accountant, as auditor. Salary reconciliation. Salary reconciliation. Reconciliation is with what's the reconciliation mean? You need to reconcile the last month salary versus this month salary. Last month versus this month. That's really important. Why? Last month we had this month salary. Reconcile, resignation this, appointment this, salary increment this because of this month salary. That should be kind of logical aspect. This should be done. And the payroll versus payment, you need to reconcile. Likewise, you may have different reconciliations. That reconciliation should be approved by the HR head, CFO, before they are processing the payment. That's really important. The salary reconciliation, payroll versus PA, last month's salary versus this month's salary. That reconciliation process should be there. You can come and balagan forward. Yeah, month's resign payment. Okay, that's about. Other thing is management, remuneration type of things, very confidential. Their salaries and all, right? And then if they are HR head ki salary ke over. Yeah, but process karane ek benam bala. Bas KMP, key management person, director salary. So they are monitor it. So then we need to have proper controls over there. We can, if we want to identify separately, that can be transferred to separate CA, right? Then all those things should be monitored separately. In this, we need to keep evidence as of this and check related evidence. Approval, payment approval, documentation, real posting, all those can be tested. For the further reference, I will share some type of payroll process. You can simply check that payroll process related. Right. You can see type of a payroll process here. This was done to a audit perspective, right? Auditor විදියට මේ සේරම අපි walk through එක කරන්න කලින් designation. We need to understand recruitment, right? All the things should be. We have contract basis employees, management staff. All the things need to be understand. Monthly salary, salary sheets, payroll sheets, pay slips, GL fund. GL should be updated at the end of the day, right? Then related notes, related entries, GL posting. Then control map. Control mapping means whatever the risk plus control. Risk plus control. This means what could go wrong, means risk. So these are the risks. What could go wrong means what could go wrong, risk. Risk plus the control. Control mapping. So these are the controls. Are the controls, right? These controls, we have control description, related accession, completeness, type of the control, and frequency. Yes, critical or not. Yes, critical control number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Likewise, here we have a kind of a control mapping. So after doing this walkthrough, and we need to finalize the flow chart and the nodes, and then we need to map the controls. And through this control mapping, we have to do the POC for the critical controls. මම මේක පෙන්නුවා නේද කලින්? ඒක පෙන්නුවා. මම මතක විදියට. නැද්ද? ඕනම process එකක මේ විදිහට තමයි යන්නේ. මට walkthrough එක කරනවා නම් මේ වගේ documentation එකක් තියෙනවා detail එකේ. walkthrough document. මම walkthrough ගැන කතා කරද්දි කිව්වා මේ document කරන්න ඕන flow chart එකක් හරියට control map කරගන්න. ඔයාලා අහනවා නම් ඉල්ලනවා නම් සහ මේක කරනවා නම් කියන්නේ අර badge එකේ මට තේරෙන්නේ මුකුත් අර මුකුත් ඉල්ලන්නේ. අහන්නේ මුකුත් මම මේව කියේ තමයි කියන්නේ. මුකුත්ම response එක කියන්නේ හිතනම දෙයක් කියන්නේ. තව ගොඩාක් දේවල් කියලා දෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඔයාලා ගොඩාක් අඩුවෙන් තමයි ගන්න. වෙන ළමයි කියලා දෙනවා. counting entries, deferred tax ගොඩාක් දේවල් කතා කරනවා. කතා කරන response එකක් නැහැ. තාම මේ design and implementation effectiveness එක ගැන අහුවම ඒක not good. ගොඩාක් තියෙන practical දේවල් documents URL එකක් කරන්නේ කොහොමද? library address space එකක් කරන්නේ කොහොමද? and then cut off test එක වගේ එකක් කියන්නේ මොකද්ද? information එකක් කියන්නේ මොකක්ද? මොනවාද? cash and bank කතා. cash and bank වල section එකක් කොහොමද හදන්නේ? working එක. මේ අපි දාලා තියෙන මොකක්ද මුලින්ම තියෙන්නේ? cash and cash sheet වල. Then what is this? This is the CRA, right? This is CRA. So this is the planning material. PM, PE, SAT, and then objective. These are the procedures. These are the assessments. Out, right? These are the procedures. This is the conclusion. This is the summary page, first page, and then what are the disclosures in the financial statement, and then lead. Lead එකේ තමයි තියෙන්නේ balances. Balances, right? Balances වල sublead එක. Sublead එකේ තමයි තියෙන්නේ GL numbers එක. Right? So the එක company එක වෙනස් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. මට procedures wise බලන්න. කොහොමද මේ procedures මේ step කරන්නේ කියලා document කරන්න. You can see, right? We have separate bank balances. Bank balances මේ test step එක තමයි මේ දාලා දෙන්නේ. Test step කරපු විදිය දාලා දෙන්නේ. Bank reconciliation is prepared by timely manner. Check. Bank statement balance correctly taken to the reconciliation. Check. Cash balance correct. Sorry. Cash balance correctly taken to the reconciliation. Arithmetical accuracy of the reconciliation done. Authorization to the reconciliation done. Check. Likewise, tape subsequent settlement. Likewise, we have done that testing. Likewise, we have different worksheets. We need to document. That's the type of a working paper. In paper of cash, working paper of payroll, salary related things. Same. You may have two working papers basically. What are they? TOC working paper and substantive procedure working paper. TOC working paper. What more of them? In the main one, select කරපු sample check කරපු විදිය තමයි ඒක වාට decide කරන්න පුළුවන්. කොහොමද ඒක format කරන්නේ. So then whatever the control, whatever the sample selected basis, sample items, what are things to check. That's all about POC work. Substantive procedures, it may be numbers will be tested. So then salary related expense numbers, GL codes, what are the procedures you plan and the results. Basic procedure, documentation. And documentation one documentation ගැන කතා කරද්දී ඒව තමයි කතා කරන්න plan කරන්න කියන්නේ. මෙතන last slide එක. benefit of audit documentation. බයලට ඒවා කියලා දුන්නේ නැහැ කියලා කතා කරන්න ඉතින්. දැන් in advance කතා අපි once you are doing whatever the TOC substantive procedures, it's really important to do the proper documentation. Why? Not documented, not done. You can't sacrifice documentation for your efficiency. What you can do there? What is the design achieve කරන්න ඕන නිසා how to document කරන්නේ නැහැ කියලා. Monthly report එක, global review එක, SASB එක නැත්නම් FCID එක ඉදු ගම audit file එකේ evidence එක පේනවා. Evidence කියන්නේ නැහැ. මම chartered accountant, chartered accountant ලා sign කරන්නේ. You have to prove yourself. Okay. That's why you need to do proper documentation. Other thing is document කරලා තියෙනකොට තමයි review කරන්න පුළුවන්. And then next year එකට support වෙනවා. Group audit එකකට review කරන්න පුළුවන්. So the documentation is a crucial aspect. What document කරන්න පුළුවන්. E-copy විදිහට පුළුවන්, hard copy විදිහට පුළුවන්. මොනවද කරන්නේ අනිවාර්යෙන් කරලා වෙලා within a period archive කරන්න. So then you need to save those copies in an archival center. Right? So that's the requirement. Right. Expenses, salary remuneration, those are the things we need to discuss. All the things we discuss, areas, right? And non-current liabilities. Non-current liabilities, last week also we discussed. Non-current liabilities. Very straightforward. We are promoting not POC, fully substantive approach. Because in an organization you are having very limited number of items, significant items, loans and borrowing, leasing, debentures. You may have 2-3 leasing facilities, 2-3 debentures, 4-5 loans. That's it as an organization. Right? So then you are having very basic process. You are having very basic process to complete this. So then what you can do is you don't need to worry about the TOC. You can straight away do the substantive procedures. That is not a meaning of you are doing TOC because of not reliable control of the design and implementation. Why we are doing this substantive procedures? Kind of a proper effectiveness. Because you are having just 12 months transaction for borrowing facility. Borrowing facility cannot be straightforward, not objectively check around. That's why you are doing full substantive approach for the non-current liabilities. Non-current liability is a financial liability. You need to do disclosures according to the IFRS 9. These are the accessions. But you can check under substantive procedures. You can check basically this agreement, payments, amortization schedule. approval for the new loans, governance breaches, and then confirmation from the bank, interest calculation, year posting. Those are the things we will take. First, the typical thing is governance breaches. That's the important area. Governance breaches. Governance breaches. Those are the conditions in a loan agreement to be fulfilled by the borrower. Right? The party who are taking the loan, he has to be compliant with that financial conditions. If any meaning that your current ratio should be maintained this much, your gross margin should be 40%, your salary incremental rate should be 10% per year. What I evaluated. Your bonus should be 15% of the total salary. Likewise, you may have different conditions. So at the point of you are getting the loan, you agree with the financial institution to comply with your rules. And then as a process, you need to comply. Those are called as financial covenants. Financial covenants please never. So then the loan can be accelerated by the bank. So then immediately you are ready. If you want to, if you are supposed to pay the loan immediately, definitely that loan balance in the books should be classified as non-current. Current. In a loan or leasing agreement, financial perspective, they are classified current and non-current. You know, right? Next 12 months, you are like current. Non-current if there are any financial related covenants, so the basically there are 74 के लिए बात 74 के लिए बात right? There are 74. When an entity breaches a provision of long-term agreement or no, before end of the reporting period with effect that the liability become payable on demand. Right? It classifies the liability as a current even if the lender agreed after the reporting period and before the authorization of the financial statement. The issue not to demand payments and consequences of the breach, an entity classifies the liability as current because at the end of the reporting period, it does not have an unconditional right to defer its settlement for the least 12 months after the due date, after that date. Right? Further, SLFRS 7 clearly says if there is a covenant breach, that breach related details should be disclosed in the financial statement. That's all about SLFRS 7. Hey, standard Baranda, එතකොට අයින් කරගන්න මේ කතා කරමු. අපි peaceful එකේ ඉඳලා standard. Case 1. Case 2 කියන්නේ inventory. 16 කියන්නේ non-loan standard. 16 කියන්නේ PPI. Case 1 තමයි balance sheet එකේ අයින් expenses සියලුම තියෙන්නේ. ඒක තමයි. ඒවා මේව ගන්න මේක දැකලා නෑ. මේක කියන්නේ this makes use of planning data. So I can look at this case. There are no planning of the Audit standard one of the other. I'm not interested in that. Right? For accounting standard, you have to be an expert on that. Can an expert be? Like, if we go reasonable level, they have kind of competence to manage it. At least you can say the preference. Yes, if there's a breach, so then we can address the case one. Right? Likewise, you should have that passion. Then only you can do proper audit. And audit is getting more and more. You can't do it. You can't do the practice not that you can do it. And you can't do it. Counting all over, so then you should know what it is. Without knowing that, you can't justify. Any minimum color can is okay. What can vary from another person? One person can be standard can be somebody can. All over. All over. Standard can what you are told is, you need to explain why standards say like this. What are the benefits over that? Once you are using this for the financial reporting, that should be convinced to the engineer, marketeer, salesperson, HR people, to the board of management. That's the role you are going to play in the public side. Be ready for that. Be ready for that. You can ready වෙන්න. අපි exam එක ready වෙන්න නේද? ඒක සෙන් ඕනේ. exam එක ready වෙන්න. වඩා ඉදවල කරාම හරි YouTube එකේ videos එක බලන්න. Standard එක ගන්න videos තියෙනවා. Foreigners කියලා දෙනවා, local videos කියලා English තියෙනවා, Tamil තියෙනවා. Whatever language you have, you can go to that. But that was not about the final outcome. You have to structurally, conceptually, skillfully, you have to change, right? And we expect that change. Okay, right. So then here we discuss about, now we have done with the right. So then we have completed all the balances now. All the balances. Number balancing can procedures the balancing can expense, revenue, liabilities, asset, receivable, inventory, cash. All the balances we have discussed. The logic wise, procedure wise, approach wise, risk wise, assessment wise, critical assessments, all the things we have discussed. Now we are moving to some of the disclosures. Some of the disclosures. One is contingent asset and contingent liability disclosure. Contingent asset and contingent liability. So then we can refer the case 37. Case 37. Case 37 says contingent provision, contingent asset, and contingent liability. Right? Provision is a liability of uncertain timing of amount. Provision means it's a liability. Liability means certain cash outflow as a result of past event. We know that the exact amount. The liability may be a provision. It's the uncertainty of the timing or the amount. That's a provision. Then, as auditor, we should know how we are going to audit the provision, the basis, calculation, approval, bonus provision, return provision, return provision. We have already discussed all those things, right? And then contingent asset, contingent liability. Contingent asset, contingent liability. For these things, we don't need to do double entries. Double entry is not. We just want to disclose. Just want to disclose. Double entry to disclose double entry to disclose right? Under commitment and contingency note, you can disclose. Right? In accounting, as I previously said, we had 3 stages of some activities: probable, possible, and given by the higher part. Higher guna cost area. So they are the serum. So they are the serum below it. So that mother here. So they are the serum below it. Taking one part way, Lanka is there. So they are the demand in there. So they are the demand. Confusion of examiner. So they are getting zero adapt. Good Galle. Referral purpose, tracking purpose, you can do some notes. That's it. Those things should be in your head, right? Probable, possible, remote, right? If it is remote, double entries and disclosure. If it is remote, no double entry, no disclosure. It's remote. Remote likelihood of happening. No need to disclose, no need to report, right? If it is possible, no need to pass double entries. Just a disclosure. That is called contingent. If it is probable, need to pass double entry, need to disclose. Right? So then it's really important to understand. That's why we are telling if it is contingent liability or contingent assets, it's a possible cash outflow. Right? Possible. You can check the word. The contingent liability is a possible obligation. Possible. The key word is possible. Right? If possible means it's not probable. There's a possibility. With this possibility, we are creating a doubt. It linked with another activity. After happening that activity only, this will happen. There's a doubt. With that doubt, we are not going to pass entries, right? Make a hagirati, make a mana important. Make a eye, and the whole. You got the light or the balabal. මේක මනේ අහන්න. ඒක මෙන්න දැන් ආයෙ සතුටු වෙන විදිහට දැන් මේක බෑ. ඒක වෙනවනම් ප්‍රශ්නයක්. මේක මේ ඔඩිටින් නෙමෙයි. that's all about accounting. ඔයාලා ඩිස්කරේජ් කරන්න ඕනේ. මට බලලා ඉන්නේ චේන්ජ් එක. අවුට්කම් එක ගන්න ඕනේ. Then, if you can get something out of this, I'm really happy about that. Right? So then I'm getting that, you're getting something, and what's up to that? What's up to that? Okay? So that's the one next thing. So then audit procedures. Audit procedures, what you have to do? What you have to do? Review minutes. Simple. Review minutes, go through the agreements and discussing with the legal parties, discussing with the top management, inquiry and recalculation provision and approval to the provision. All those things are the procedures. We are not going to do POC for this, right? What is substantive approach for the disclosure, right? And capital reserves. Capital reserves is a limited risk account. We are not going to perform more audit procedures. If there are transactions related to this, like right issue or bonus issue or kind of a share reduction, you need to do some procedures. So those procedures depend on board minute testing, approvals, cash related entry testing. All those things can be tested. So the normally capital and reserves is a limited risk account. It's a low risk account. Why there are no transactions during the period? Very limited transactions. So the profit transfer to the holders and dividend payment will be tested, can be tested very easily. So then this can be very straightforward. Disclosure requirement, capital changes during the period, and board minutes, direct approvals. So then secretarial confirmations. So then those can be checked, right? Capital and reserves. So then those are the basic other some of the disclosures I will take through. Related party transaction. So then after completing that, I will come to sampling, right? Related party transactions. I want to discuss key disclosures. Already discussed this planning activities, right? Related party disclosures, subsequent events, going concern, and estimates. Auditing in estimates, right? So then those are the things I want to especially discuss with you all. We are going to related party. I will mention here what are the key things we will discuss with you all. Related party, post balance sheet event, going concern, and then estimate audit. So then for these things, what are the audit responses? What you have to do? Right? Related party, we have already discussed at the planning stage. Related party disclosures. Because after related party, you have the email person here. Standard එක ඔපන් කරලා වෙනවා. AB කියන්නේ එක letter එකකින් වෙනස් වෙනවා. මම කතා කරා CFO AB ද නැද්ද කියලා. CFO is not a KMP. Why? According to the case 24, right? Case 24. The case 24, KP definition says planning and directing, planning and directing activities of the entity. Other KMPs, key management person. Activities is just restricted CFO as RP. Activities क्या करने financial activity के अंदर यार CFO liable है marketing activity right एक CEO liable CEO comply with this definition activities of the organization right it is so CFO is not a partner the pure definition some organizations CFO may act as a CEO CEO විදිහටම ඉන්නේ CFO එමනම් මෙයා හැම එකටම approval යනවා delete කරන්න ඕන the substance is a case right substance case so then related parties we have defined what are the related parties according to the standard we have examples right who are the basic related parties basic related parties so here I mentioned related parties not mention කරලා related parties mention කරලා एक subsidiary එකක් වෙන්න පුළුවන් parent කෙනෙක් වෙන්න පුළුවන් parent limited concern වෙන්න පුළුවන් associate companies basically control කරනවා significant influence කරනවා so then any document remains related party concept of related party concept this service related party process identification measurement and disclosure identification measurement and disclosure ये सब उड़वा डाल दिया topic पूरा identification, measurement and disclosure. Identification, measurement and disclosure. So then that process should be evaluated. And make a risk upgrade. Why it's a risk? Because related parties are the people who govern the organization. So then they can override the control. So they can use company resources for their benefit. Because of that, in the company there should be a proper mechanism to identify all those parties and measure that disclose properly. Why? That disclosure is very relevant for the stakeholders who are using financial information. Right? So then, related party are exactly normal. They are the recurrent stakeholders. Even I'm going to and stakeholders and ways related parties use current. That's why we are having related party disclosure. Then once you are having that, as auditor you have a responsibility to check this. It's also difficult, right? After being balance related party. Then, very difficult. It's an auditor whenever the auditing standard 550. 550 later. Yes. 550 related parties. Not may area එකට බලන්න. Accounting standard එක දුන්නොත් auditing standard. account මෙහෙම කරනවා. මෙහෙම audit කරනවා කියලා දෙනවා. එච්චර නේනම් කරද? complex. එච්චර complex. This is the area you need to focus. Related party transaction. That is the area people can dispute things. Right? So then, as auditor, now you know the background. Now you know the background. Now you can decide what are the procedures you can do. Basically, process. You can do a walkthrough test. How they are going to identify, measure, and disclose related party transactions. Are they having manual control, system controls, or pure A? Hotel gila, sana orders gila, taking the order. System ini factor. Related party identify the system ini dulu idea. Company incorporation. Where group begin subsidiary transaction But disclaimer. End of the day, you can get a report. So if you have such kind of mechanism in the organization to capture the related party transaction, that's all right. So most of the organizations they don't have that. So they are using this kind of manual controls to capture related party transaction. So because of that, definitely there's a higher risk to missing all those transactions from the disclosures. That risk is there. So then auditors having kind of a focus on this area to perform audit procedures. And then what you can do is you can check the TOC as well about the transaction. What the transaction 50ක් select කරගන්න පුළුවන් අවුරුද්දේ. So you can perform TOC about the related party transaction. And then you can do this substantive procedures. Related party transaction related substantive procedures. Substantive procedures. So what are the substantive procedures? Straightforward substantive procedures. You can check with the last year file. What would have changed in that? In general, what are the changes? You can check with the last year file with the code means. Any structural change, any companion file, any new directors, right? You can check that. And then the system controls. And then type of basically board meetings. And then receivable payable confirmation. Any confirmation from the AFPs, even total confirmation, they are confirming their transaction with AFP. NDT rent building direct building 1 million, direct 2 million. It's not a fair transaction, right? That type of confirmation may be there. So the KP confirmation, board meetings, and then last year file, and then whatever the shareholder certificates, last year auditor confirmation. You can discuss the last year auditors as well. Review minutes meetings, prior period working papers, entire management, directors, transaction, related controls. All those are the procedures you can perform. With procedures here, KSRE का count is KSRE maximum time. Basically, these are the procedures related to related party recognition, measurement, and disclosure. That process should be tested through that substantive procedures, right? That's about related party transaction. Now we are coming to post balance sheet transaction, post balance sheet disclosure. Post balance sheet disclosure. What you can do? You can inquire and you can check subsequent entries and subsequent business changes, subsequent board meetings, and subsequently you can have legal discussion with the legal parties, and then regulatory discussions. All those things check for subsequent event disclosure. Subsequent events. What do you mean by subsequent? What do you mean by subsequent event? For that also we have separate accounting standard and auditing standard. What is that? 12 plus 560. 12 subsequent event. Income tax. Then event after the reporting period. Event after the reporting period, right? So this is the event after the reporting period. This is a financial period. Financial year end date. And the statement of financial position complete current house, management signed current house. So from year end date to the financial statement authorization date, we call as post balance sheet period. Post balance sheet period, right? You know, right? So that under this post balance sheet period, there may be events can be categorized into two. What are they? What are they? There may be events in this period and be categorized into two. Okay. First time post balance sheet period was first time. साधारण Okay, mahal. Mereka mah dan amati nama samaran dan itu dia mana mahal gitu. So what are the items we need to consider within this period? Events can be categorized into two. That's called adjusting event and non-adjusting events. What are the dalam pada simplisan atau simplisan? Adjusting event and non-adjusting events. These events can be categorized to two events, adjusting and non-adjusting. Adjusting and non-adjusting. Adjusting and non-adjusting. How you can decide that? This can be after the year end. The events can be happen. What kind of events are going here? Financial here. The events can be happen. The unit decides whether you are going to adjust these financials or disclose. Right? Events. Events events can be divided into two in general. Events that impact to the previous financial year, events that impact to this financial year, right? Events that will impact to the previous financial year can be divided to adjusting and non-adjusting. The relevant to this year, not adjusting, not adjusting. Adjusting event, non-adjusting event. Non-adjusting event, we need to do a disclosure. Adjusting event, we need to adjust that. We need to change the numbers. adjusting and unadjusting. So then adjusting, what do you mean by that? So then this situation was there at the reporting date. This situation is there at the reporting date. We know that situation, and about that situation, if we are giving further details to reflect the actual picture, so then we can adjust. If there is a new information about the last year, that can't be adjusted. So then that should be disclosed. So the May Hari India Canada, Africa, Kinga, they can adjust. That should be disclosed. Right? Whether a data getting in the whether a bank account, it should be adjusted. Why? Data was there at this date. What can you do? Factory का त्रिकोण में डाल दिया था. Factory का त्रिकोण में factory का विज्ञान में दिया त्रिकोण में. Data हिटिया, data then negative integration देखो त्रिकोण. That's why we made a provision. About that provision, we are getting more details in this period. If it is okay, we need to adjust it. Right? I hope that but you are getting what I am telling you. So then adjusting event and then adjusting event. You need to be very careful because you may have more work as auditor in a developing country. But developing country class it's may what developing country का period what features Lanka. Apa කියන්නේ? පාරවල් නැහැ. ළමයින්ට දෙන්නේ බෙහෙත් වල වතුර මේකේ මේ මොනවද? presidential election එක 60ක් විතර ඉල්ලනවා. ඒවද කියන්නේ? නෑ wow. accounting degree එකට ටීච් කරන කෙනෙක් විදිහට ආවද කියනවා. business management ගන්න කෙනෙක් විදිහට නේද? වා කියනවනේ as a developing country for last 100 years we don't have now PWC in our country. We don't have McDonald's in our country, right? And then our post balance sheet period like more than 10 months. After post balance sheet period, months the happy there. Whenever I say the post balance sheet period, they put it. Post balance sheet period, post balance sheet period. That was part of that. December account, father member sign the but it took us sign to that day. That was part of it. Abay moment. That was part of it. Master. What is again? I have that experience. Mama, what it can Royal Palm Tangerine, Mama, 160 is there. Tangerine 75 is there, I think. Let's say 200 rooms. Staff like a 5 staff like a 5 months to not put it. Months to not give it already. Mama give it. After the resident tower, room is the fancy. Mama give the right. Dawes satay mau dengar our industry fancy departments. देखिए दवास satay में साथी है उड़ी नहीं है. अनि अपने रूम आया देने मास तुना रूम किए. तो आप इंटरनेट में डालने को बोलते हैं. ऐसे करते हैं. तो मिनिमम वेला ये देगा 7 डॉलर. इच्छेलटे कम वैल्यू. इच्छेलटे बेटर. इच्छेलटे दवास पहाड़ बेटर. दवास एक ही बेटर दवास पहाड़ बेटर. Things surprise in that. So now when you're not अनिवार्य यार सरप्राइज को दवा साथी में मोटिवेट करती है ओ माय गॉड रात बेटा है तो दे नॉट ऊपर मास को मेड मास के सवाल को लोग नहीं कर पाते हैं ये है पहला स्टेप पॉलिटी इतना में गवर्नमेंट के में डायग्राम का मींस टू लेना चाहिए मींस टू में आता हाल डालने से අවශ්‍ය වෙලා උදේ ඉඳලා කෑම හොයලා ආඩේ ගිහින් බඩ දෙවලා ආයෙත් දෙවලා හතරට When material is one of the data short without shopping we can create the URL in a boy now say the URL one again leave there on answer to the then no one can leave it up. Hard time of window, I don't have a stick a boiler or leave it. I don't want. That's not. I'll be ready to run. What are the things? ඒක තමයි කරන්නේ. වෙනරට වල නැහැ. පොයේ මාර්ගයේ අවුරුද්දකට දවසයි. මොනවද බොක්සි දෙය හරිනවා කරමු කියනවා. That's it. Weekends තියෙනවා. weekend එකේ Saturday වැඩ. Friday day. Sunday වැඩ ස්කෝර් වෙනවා. මොකද යාළුවෝ තියෙන්නේ මේ ලීව් අරගෙන enjoy කරලා මේ religions ගැන මේවා ගැන gossip ගැන හිතේ TV එක බලපෑගෙන ඉන්නේ. So they have limited time. From a year, like 6 months, we are having time to work. Other 6 months they will be winter or makali himawat or either. They have limited time, but they are developed countries. So they are focused about the subject matter. So then, once you are asking, once you are getting 3 years of a developing country, you have to say that our post-financial period. The counts PDA related marks go related marks. So when you are going to be over, TV එක 12 එක රෑ 12ට රන් කරලා ඊට පස්සේ උදේ වෙනකොට අනිත් එන්ට්‍රීස් ටිකක් දාලා January 2nd morning 8:30 වෙනකොට DP එක ඇවිල්ලා. එයාගේ bank reconciliation එකයි bank statement එකයි tally වෙන්නේ නැහැ කියලා reconciliation නැහැ. bank reconciliation නැහැ. On time bank statement में cash book नहीं करेगा interlink तो bank reconciliation check करना के बाद procedure that's it. So then they have already management side they have done data analytics. For the data analytics exception they have tested that. What we have to do as auditor, we need to check that and do resample of that sample test. Verify that process. That's it. Likewise, audit type in a different country may be very easy. And then it's a kind of VIP service. Right? If you want to be auditor in a different country, your role may be totally different. The VIP service, yes, it's a different story. Not like here, right? So then, post-balance sheet period is this. To verify this, you have to follow that type of audit procedures. So not the TOC approach, full substantive approach. What you have to do, you have to go through these subsequent period entries, subsequent period discussion, management file, changes, board minutes, GL postings, regulatory discussions, lawyers' letters, other correspondence with the regulator letter එකක් वागे बिजनेस के मिड में पार्ट के इलीगल है एक प्रोडक्ट है तो एक मुकाम करें एक बार रिपोर्टिंग डेट के डालते हैं वाई लेटर एक में रिपोर्टिंग डेट के डालते हैं में पीरियड के काम होता है फाइनेंस करना है बिना एवं लेटर है तो बट एक न्यू इंफॉर्मेशन शुड बी डिस्क्लोज्ड can't be adjusted. So then, what hadisi was data finalization and how? You don't know. You don't want to update this. That is a disclosure, right? That depends on your personality. Or personality is very. But minimum is key. This type of place. Your post balance sheet period is this. And you are finalizing here the accounts, and the management received one letter from regulator. Yeah, I can auditor pay on hunger of the other. And pin and then. This was happened in the post balance sheet period, not disclosed. Or make a done letter account finalization. So So then this is a deviation. This event was happened during the post balance sheet period, and that should be disclosed. So then finally you disclose that after you are releasing accounts. So then what you have to do? You have to talk with the management, recall the audit opinion, recall the financial statement. If it is material, you need to get lawyers' instruction. So then this is kind of a violation. It's a kind of very exceptional situation. So here I mentioned that information about the event discovered after the financial statement have been issued. What is the implication? Are you getting what I am telling here? Wow. Financial statement issue කරාට පස්සේ මෙහෙ වෙන එක කවුරුත් නැහැ. ඒක උදාහරණයක් මොකක්ද? මෙහෙ වෙලා තියෙන එක පස්සේ තමයි දැනගන්නේ. That's the issue. Right. Okay. That is about post balance sheet events. Post balance sheet events. We have going concern and estimates. Going concern and estimates. Going concern already discussed at the planning stage. Same side is there. Right? So then that's the kind of assumption we need to base on. With this assumption, we are having current non-current assets and current non-current classification. Based on this possible future concept should be used for financial reporting as a kind of assumption. So then management use this assumption to prepare the financial statement. As auditor, we need to ensure that their basis is correct. So then you need to evaluate, is there any going concern kind of a challengeable, any highlights, any going concern issues were there. So then according to 570 standard, 507. It's about going concern, right? Going concern. So then need to update this slide. Then requires LAS 570 auditing in going concern, right? Not accounting estimate and related disclosure. 540, I think the accounting estimate. Five forty standard accounting estimate, right? It updated the slide again, we updated. And ඒක තමයි මම කියන්නේ මම slide එකේ update එකක් තියෙනවා. ඒක කොහොමද document එකෙන් depend වෙනව නම් නේද? ඔයා ඒක තමයි ටුට්ටක් ඉගන්න ඕනේ. ඒ කියන්නේ මම කියන්නේ note වලින් depend වෙන්න එපා කියලා. නේද? මම note depend වෙන්න එපා හැම වෙලේම. note එක ලියා ගන්න එක නේද? ඔළුවේ තියෙන එක තමයි important. ඒක මට පාඩු දැක්කම පරිච්ඡේදය उसका एस्टिमेट लगा तो मेरे सेक्टर में ओलू ओलू सेव कर रखते हैं मारे को तो तब एक दिन बना कि बेटर दे देंगे तो दैट තමයි වට දෙන්න මේක. ඒක එක්සෑම් එකේදී කියන්නේ. ඔළුවේ තියෙනවා. නෝට් එකේ තියෙන ඒතර වාග්මිලා මොකද කරන්නේ? එක්සෑම් එකට. වාග්මිලා try කරන්නේ මොකද? නෝට් එකේ ලියපු දේ මේකට ලින්ක් කරලා try කරන්න. බලන්නේ recall කරනවා මොකද? නෝට් එකේ ලියපු දේ. ඔතන ලින්ක් කරන්න බලමු. ඊට වඩා ලේසි නේ. ඒක පොතේ දෙන ඉස්සරහට ඒක තමයි ලින්ක් එකේ. පාඩම් මොකද කරන්නේ? හිත ලින්ක් කරන්නේ. ඔතන ලින්ක් කරන්න try කරන්න. You can connect your memory with the paper. And that's really important. Then it's a kind of a deal. Quickly you can answer. You know that in your memory, right? Photos in the memory are it's really difficult. Then always depend on your memory. Focus your memory, right? So that is the technique you need to learn. The method good up they were the wrong. We mentioned the change pyramid type of in the world, right? If you have kind of a going concern indication, according to 570 standard, we have going concern indications. Listed up 570 standard. What a serious loss of capital there. Maintenance customer satisfaction there. Product employees are resigned. Look claim there. Contingent legal case there. So then regulatory restriction. So then those are going concern indication. Continuous losses. Current liabilities, current asset, liquidity problems, solvency issues. You may have different going concern issues. High competition, and then political instability, or purely export-import company, import company. So the foreign exchange issue I am affected. So there is this kind of pandemic situation, hotel industry. Going concern issue was there. 40 hotels, 45 limited. Going concern issue was there. So then, matter is, if you are having going concern issue, how the management react that? And what are the steps they have taken? What are the mitigating controls they have? So they evaluate that and make a proper disclosure. So the management side, they should have a proper cash flow forecast and evaluate that. And whatever the strategical changes, turnaround effect, you need to evaluate and you need to justify that they are having going concern ability, right? So whatever the analyze, discuss entities, latest available interim financials. Subsequently, negotiation borrowers the negotiation so then we may have some new discussion with the borrower, bankers, right? Likewise, you may have different evidence, board meetings, board discussion, management discussion, lawyers discussion, regulator discussion, and solvency let's say it's a bank or insurance company. So solvency is governed by the regulator. Solvency has come. But solvency needs the bank. So then that bank can be audited by the external auditor. Likewise, going concern situation should be evaluated and you need to disclose. So the going concern can want a management taker, are you to disclose the are you information there in the opinion qualify the adverse opinion display right? Like scope limitation the going concern theatre disclose going concern so then what is the approach you have to do as accountant you have to use break up this and non-current assets. Current liabilities and non-current liabilities. Breakup basis financial statement. Breakup basis financial statement. If you are not having what you call that, going concern ability, what you have to do as a counter, you have to prepare breakup basis financial statement. This called that you don't have current asset, current liability. All are current assets. You are not using cost method. All should be market value. And you can in a market value, we will say that current value. So that is the way we need to disclose. So the liquidity so you can issue the value. You are having going concern issue. That is the counter treatment you have to do. Right? That's about going concern. Going concern ability of an organization. So then what are the responses promoted? Going concern disclosure. Then estimates. Estimate related. So the estimate, what are the estimate we have? We have different estimates, right? We discussed. The depreciation period, and then provision, return provision, warranty provision, gratuity provision, bonus provision, deferred tax, all are estimates. If there's estimates change, policy change, what's the standard in the case? If there's estimate change, what you have to do? You have to adjust that financial statement prospective basis for the futuristic aspect, future period. Right? The estimates will impact to the statement of financial position as well as the P&L, the change. Right? This will impact significantly because this estimate was done by the management. Management may use assumptions and different inputs. By changing these inputs, we can change these numbers. So the management, based on the management requirement, they can play around these numbers by using estimates. So the estimate is a core process or area we should focus in. Keep in mind. So then what you have to do is, as auditor, you need to identify the risk level of the estimate first. Risk level of the estimate first. Make what I want to estimate risk level high risk estimate moderate risk estimate low risk estimate right? Estimates. And then what you have to this level identify the process and understand estimate process. Perform a walkthrough, and then POC, and then substandard procedures. Risk level, and then perform a process understanding, walkthrough test, POC, and substandard procedures. That should be done to the specific estimate. මොකක්ද බලන්න ඕනේ estimate එකක්ද? Risk process walkthrough POC substandard procedure. Risk එක බලලා process එක understand කරලා walkthrough එකක් කරලා POC කරලා substandard procedures. Sometimes you don't want to do TOC. This is optional. What data provision එක ගත්තොත් what TOC කරගෙන ඉන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. Data provision 100% substandard කරන්න පුළුවන්. So then you have to do a walkthrough. That's sure. Process walkthrough substandard procedures. Right. Estimate documentation we discussed what's the importance of the audit documentation. Then auditor will templates පාවිච්චි කරන්න පුළුවන්, e-forms පාවිච්චි කරන්න පුළුවන්, hard copy, soft copies, different technological aspects. So according to the technological development, we are mostly working with virtual offices, functional auditing. So that here SharePoints and shared documents, we may have different technological aspects we have to use functional documentation. Maybe templates, maybe some icons, symbols, right? And SLR working with symbols here. So then we may have tick marks different. So then different calculations, different tools can be used. All those things should be documented. Documentation is a crucial element. There are many benefits. So what you want to document, what are the importance? One of the documents that are known, one of the documents that are the objectives, nature, time, and extent of the procedure, sample basis, procedure results, conclusions, all those things should be documented. Planning phase again, understand the business plan. Team on the planning material calculation basis, any changes to the material basis, sample selection, procedures, EOC, risk assessment related detail, all those things should be documented. एक आए किधर गया है आप इधर के नाम पता तो शेयर करते हैं तो कुछ नहीं अभी मेरे और ये फाइल रिव्यू करना होती है तो कुछ नहीं करना है क्या और वहाँ का तो बहुत चला ये लोग बोल रहे हैं और ये फाइल का टैक्स और जमा करना तो बड़ा काटे चलेंगे और ये काटे तो ये मैनेजर से फोन कर देते हैं मैनेजर ने फाइल का देखिए मैनेजर से हम बोले कि फाइल दे देंगे बाकी मतलब फाइल का हम कल वेट लो मतलब ऑडिटर के नहीं वन टू रिव्यू कर दो डॉक्यूमेंटेशन कर दे अरे तेरे मतलब क्या है अननेसेसरी डॉक्यूमेंटेशन ये पैरेंट तो लोन दैट लेवल से ले देखो हाउ द फर्स्ट मम गया मॉनिटरिंग बोर्ड रिव्यू करते 2060 last year monitoring board review mentioned one of the largest leasing company audit file එක ගත්තොත් මම තමයි audit assistant manager හරි supervisor හරි එක file එකක ලියලා තිබුණා so then branch visit file බැලුවා monitoring board එකේ so file එකේ පොලේක ලියලා තියෙනවා these three branch files leasing files were not received clearly ඒක දැකලා නැහැ මේ ෆයිල් තුන හම්බුනේ නැහැ කියලා. දැන් බ්‍රාන්ච් අපි බ්‍රාන්ච් සිලෙක්ට් කරලා තියෙනවා 20ක් විතර. 20ම ගිහින් සේරම ડોකියුමන්ට් බලලා තියෙනවා. මේ ෆයිල් තුන හම්බුනේ නැහැ කියලා. දැන් හම්බුනේ නැති වුණාට කරපු වැඩ දැන් අහනවා. රිපෝට්. හම්බුනේ නැති වුණ එක ස්කෝප් ලිමිටේෂන් එකක් වගේ. දීලා නැහැ. ෆයිල් එකට දාලා ඕල්ටර්නේටිව් ප්‍රොසීජර්ස් වෙනවා. දැන් පස්සේ අමුණු ඊමේල් දෙන්න. एक आप दे और मैं हम रहते हैं एड्रेस करे को है एक आत है मेक ඊට පස්සේ වා නැති ગેප් එක සාම්පල් එක ඇඩ්ජස්ට් කරාද ඒකත් නැහැ ඊට පස්සේ මේක ස්කෝප් ලිමිටේෂන් එක ඔඩිට් ඔපිනියන් එකේ මැනේජ්මන්ට් එකේ කොහෙද ඇඩ්ජස්ට් කරාද ඒකත් නැහැ දැන් මෙයා ලියනවා මෙයා පිටුවට සමාන ලෙටර් එකක් කරනවා so then they have done branch visit and some of the files were not received and that was not adjusted to the audit result scope and substandard procedures so then this is inadequate audit procedures අපි මේක ගොඩාක් වැඩ කරලා අපි select කරන්න sample 25යි company එකේ अभी ब्रांच के 25 सिलेक्ट कर लेते तो वाली ना 25 into 20 sample බලලා. එච්චරට වැඩ කරලා. So then they were reported like this. Finally අපි බලනකොට තා ඔයාගේ ඉන්නේ මේ ෆයිල් එක hard copy deliver කරලා ඉවරලා තියෙනවා. එකලා මේ ඒක බලලා ඒ documentation එක ෆයිල් එකට දාලා නැහැ. ඒ documentation එක ෆයිල් එකට දාලා නැහැ. මේ note එක open නේ මෙතන තියෙනවා. ඒකට මම කියන්නේ මොකක්ද? Unnecessary documentation in the audit file make you uncomfortable. So මොන කරන්න කියනව නෙවෙයි. But you have done a lot. But all equation may be turned to other conclusion based on this unnecessary documentation. Keep in mind, don't include confidential related information, right? To the maybe personal information or in portfolios, and then type of standard costing formulas, type of some of the confidential things, the board meetings. No need to include to the audit file. You can say that you can minute it. You can put a minute and don't put into the original documents in the file. Likewise, you have kind of a proper documentation. As audit firm, as a big four firm, they have good protocols, controls to do the documentation. The documentation aspect is a very crucial as an auditor, right? So then, finally, we have representation letter. So then again is a one step we need to follow. As the SLA US 580, what the representation we need to get for specific items. With this provision and recorded liability, intercompany adjustments. For those things, we need to get the written representation from the manager. That is called letter of representation. LOR. So the LOR and the initial stage we had LO. What is that? LO. We had a document at the initial stage LO. Again. Hello, financial responsibility, and then what are the litigation related things, related party related things, specific representation, whatever the completed information, significant assumption, all those things should be included to the letter of representation. So then letter of representation letter may be illustrated in this SLA 580. You can go and you can check that. So then LOR is a critical document at the audit conclusion stage. Before you are signing the financial statement, at that day, you have to get the letter of representation. And same even after the reporting date, they will disclose the sign කරනකොට අර පත්තද මෙන්න මේක දෙන්න ඉන්න තියෙනවා. But they අර අපු letter එක අපි මොකද letter එක ඉල්ලන්නේ? සේරම event after reporting date incident disclose කරා කියලා. So they are by the then they do. They put the right? So then we need to get this representation. That is called letter of representation, LOR. Right? So what happens? Audit balances were detail discuss කරලා disclosures ගැන කතා කරලා ගොඩාක් දේවල් කතා කරා. area number 3 part 2, right? Area number 3 part 2 ගොඩාක් දේවල් කතා කරා. මේක අපිට කතා කරන්න තියෙන්නේ sampling ගැන විතරයි. sampling ගැන කතා කරනවා. audit sampling ගැන කතා කරනවා. sampling ගැන කතා කරාම වදන් ඒක ලින්ක් වෙන්නේ කොහාටද? substandard procedures කරනවා TOC කරනවා කරනවා කියන එක කිව්වේ කොහොමද මේවට sample select කරන්නේ කියන එක තමයි කතා කරන්නේ right so then දැන් logic එක දන්නවා audit approach එක දන්නවා මේ පැත්තෙන් documentation කරන්න ඕන විදිය දන්නවා මෙතනදී කතා කරන්නේ sample select කරන්න ඕන විදිය right then equip කරලා තියෙන සේරම audit කරන්න ඕනම දෙයක් audit කරගන්න පුළුවන් right I assume that when අපි document audit කරන්න ඉගෙන ගත්තා planning execution procedures audit approach scope all those things there and document කරන්නත් ඉගෙන ගත්තා දැන් මේ කියන්නේ කතා කරන්නේ මොකද්ද sample select කරන්න කොහොමද random basis systematic sample key items representative sample කොහොමද sample එකක් select කරන්නේ ඒක gap sample gap එක අඩු කරගන්න sample අපි select කරනකොට මොකක්ද තියෙන්නේ sample and the population should represent the sample should represent the population so then if that sample not representing the population there's a significant sampling gap so then as what you have to do to reduce your detection risk you need to reduce your sampling gap population එක sample එක replace කරන්නේ නැහැ කියන්නේ එහෙනම් ඒක අඩු කරගන්නවා අර sampling එක use කරන්න ඒක අපි කතා කරමු අද හවසක් කියන්නේ අද හවස අපිට ගොඩක් දේවල් ඉගෙන ගන්න පුළුවන් මොකද දැන් අපි ඔඩිට් ඉවර කරලා තියෙනවා examiner දේවල් කතා කරන්නේ මේ ඒක මාර ඉම්පෝටන්ට් සෙෂන් එකක් අපි කතා කරනවා ඔඩිට් රිපෝටින් දැන් මේ කතා කරපු සම්පූර්ණ දේ කොහොමද ඔඩිට් ඔපිනියන් එකට මයිනස් වෙන්නේ කියන එක කතා කරනවා ඊපස්සේ අපි සාම්පලින් ගැන කතා කරනකොට මේක කතා කරනවා ඒක මාර ඉම්පෝටන්ට් මේකට එන්නේ ඊට පස්සේ කතා කරනවා ඊට පස්සේ මේ ඒරියාස් එක කොහොමද කවර් කරගන්නේ ඉසිලි කවර් කරන්න පුළුවන් අපිට තව ටයිම් තියෙනවා මේකත් කතා කරලා මේකත් කතා කරලා තව අපිට රිලේටඩ් එන්ගේජ්මන්ට් සෙට් එකක් කතා කරලා ඊට පස්සේ අපි තව ඒරියාස් එක තුනයි මොනවද ඒරියාස් how we can perform this type of activities in a digital technological aspect what are the technological aspects we can use for this process that should be discussed right? Technological aspects and then the ethical and qualitative perspective. As auditor, how you can perform this ethically? How you can maintain our independence? That should be discussed. Process. The audit process is something that we have to do. There are plan at the house session. Now virtual session virtual session next week virtual session session now session virtual session make a pair 3 to 6 तो पैर तुनाने देखो पैर मत कर पैर तुनाने पैर मत कर ताऊ होना ताऊ क्या ताऊ से मैंने कहा दान किसका चीज़ का आवश्यक है दान टाइम दिए तो अता करने पुलो मेके मैनेज करने पुलो आवश्यक है डिटेल अता करने पुलो ताऊ साइंस को देखिए අපිට මේ අවශ්‍ය ටයිම් එකෙන් කතා කරලා ඉවර කරන්න පුළුවන්. අවශ්‍ය. ඒක බලමු. ඕනේ අවශ්‍ය ටයිම් එක කතා කරලා ඉවරයක් කරලා දාන්න. යාළුවෝ ඒක කිව්වා. නේ. එහෙමද? එහෙම හිතුණාද? හිතුණා කියන්නේ. හිතන දේ තමයි වැදගත්. මොකද අර ඔඩිටර් කෙනෙක් කියන වැඩ කරන්නේ there was something that we did what I reported to almost done. Make it from Hari, Missuru that is not a big Mombalanda, cash detail, cash bank reconciliation, procedures, inventory detail, receivable, payable, liability adequacies, cut-off testing, revenue in detail, revenue standard example, warranty certificate, these are the package product likewise, financial background we discuss. Inventory kata they have cost and which is low in the accounting treatment in the long term borrowing, power and sleep in the related party. So what are the related parties? What is the process? Recognition, measurement, disclosure. Type of related parties, KP definition, CFO and CEO, who is the related party, what's the reason? Likewise, we had a detailed discussion. Right? The discussion points, what are other people? cover cream नहीं डाल रहे हैं ना मना आधा बड़े बड़े वाले में टॉपिक के लिए वो प्रोसीजर्स दिखाता है thank you right सारा सब कुछ how to get it how to question to the paper fine that's it for this session we'll meet up at evening is the plan of completing reporting and sampling was other audit engagements. Three topics to be discussed.